Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Shannon Brandyberry, Special Projects Editor with ABRN, and I'm pleased to have time today to have a conversation with Patrick Porter. He is a third-generation shop owner and manager at Porter's Body Shop in Brookhaven, Mississippi. Patrick, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. With today's conversation, which is sponsored and presented by ALLDATA, Patrick and I are hoping to have an insightful and yet frank conversation about utilizing scan tools and diagnostic programs in the shop and everything that goes along with it, from features to functions to training and customer results. And Patrick is a great resource that everyone in your shop can relate to. He has been involved in ICAR since 2012 as an instructor for live classes, and then for the last 3 years as an instructor for virtual courses as well. He has obtained his AMI Accredited Automotive Management Certificate and AMI's new Accredited Collision Repair Estimator Certificate. He also is ASE certified and Platinum certified through ICAR in Production Management, Estimator, Non-Structural, and Refinish. Patrick has been one of the pilot instructors with ICAR's new Mechanical Electrical virtual classes for the collision repair industry. He serves on the Mississippi Collision Repair Association Board of Directors, and he also has a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from Belhaven University and an MBA from the University of Phoenix. So now that you know a little more about Patrick, let's look a little bit at what the shop has and what it is doing when it comes to scan tools and diagnostics. Patrick, what types of scan tools and programs are you using in the shop right now?
What we do, now we do kind of a multitude of different scan tools. One being Aztec. We work with the Aztec unit. That is a great unit, especially when you have a lot of the higher end cars that we work with. We also have a snap-on scan tool that we work with as well. We do a lot of pre-scanning with that, and we've got, of course, ALLDATA's new tool as well, their diagnostic tool as well. And I've got pretty much 3 different ones that we work with. If we can't find the problem with either of the 3, we've got a problem, there. We in the collision repair industry need to embrace scanning. We need to embrace the scan tools that are out there. There's some very good ones out there. And I know that, when I was able to look at the different ones that were out there, I kind of went towards ALLDATA, one being that ALLDATA has always been there and provided great information to be able to look up problems and everything. If you've got a code and they can't find it, my take is nobody can, as far as that's concerned. But, when we look as a shop, and I say that as a shop, but when I took and looked at the different tools that were out there, I use basically the ALLDATA and the Aztec unit the most, as far as that's concerned. The Snap-on, it's a good tool, don't get me wrong, but just for ease of use, those are the 2 that I kind of, embrace in the shop. And with all the different hats that I wear, it's easier for me to work with, as far as that's concerned.
Okay, so you've got the 3 tools and the couple that you rely on mostly. When you decided to look at the scan tools and looked at all of your options, what were the features that you were looking for that you knew were a must-have?
Well, one, it needed to tell me information, because a lot of people have the misconception, even in our industry, have the misconception that, a scan tool can actually fix things, and yeah, you can calibrate and you can initialize and you can program and you can do different things with certain scan tools. But when I looked at the capabilities of the scan tools, that's what I was really looking for. I wanted something that was, had everything and then some. If you know what I'm talking about. I wanted something that could help me figure out the problems that we had. And one of the things, and I know I'm gonna speak on ICAR here for a moment. The mechanical classes that ICAR just released, we don't have near the amount of participation in those classes yet that we should, because in our industry, that is something I still think our industry is lacking, in the sense of we're not embracing the the new technology that is not coming, that's out there. We're not embracing, hey, this vehicle needs to be scanned, and we need to make sure that when we work on a vehicle, that we're not introducing problems into the vehicle before it leaves our shop. And that's pretty much, to answer your question, that's what I wanted to look for, was a scan tool that could help, um, basically take the problems out of the vehicle. Show me what I did to the vehicle, show me what was rec related, what wasn't, and be able to address those issues, as far as that's concerned.
That sounds pretty much like your must-have for the shop. So how long did you spend looking for that right tool?
It took me a while, and I'll be honest with you. It took me a while because I went through several scan tools. They were very good scan tools, but I wanted to be able to address, I don't want to say all issues because I don't think there's one tool that can address every issue, you know, um, but the majority of the issues that we have, you know, and utilizing the combination of the three that I have, I've been able to, have a good combination of being able to address the majority of the issues that we have. Do I still have to sublet out to a dealer? Yeah, most definitely. Um, is it a lot? No. I can do most anything in my shop that you know that needs to be done, basically. So that, as far as how long did it take me, probably to come up with the solutions that we have now, probably 5 years, I would say, of trial and error.
Definitely for anybody taking this on, it's not a quick fix. It's not a band-aid. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You tried them out. You saw what worked, what didn't. Did you do research on them, ask companies? How did you go about deciding the ways you wanted to start?
I did research on them, but it was one of those things there, and I'll be honest with you, and I'm gonna speak on the ALLDATA tool. When I started asking about the ALLDATA tool, and I've been an ALLDATA fan for quite some time now. You know, there's certain things that you do have to go to the manufacturer to get. Don't get me wrong. New vehicles, brand new vehicles, some of those you do need to get in there. But ALLDATA has always been there with the information that I needed on the majority of the vehicles that we had. When I looked at their tool and saw that when you hooked up to the vehicle and you got your codes, whatever code, the P codes or whatever codes that you needed to get, that was going on with the vehicle, um, you basically had all your information at your fingertips. So that was a win-win situation for me. On the pad, you can sit there and go, oh, okay, here's what I need to do. This is how I need to check this out. You know, I'm not knocking anybody else by saying, everybody's got good information, but a lot of times you've got to actually do the research once you find your codes. That system there kind of did it for you, as far as once you pull it up, you hit a button, it's there, so it was a good thing. But I'm one of these type people, and anybody that knows me and has worked with me, I'm very hands on. I want to see what's going on. Back many years ago when my grandfather started our shop, we do sublet some things, but we do most everything in house because he taught me from a very early age, nobody can do it better than you, and I'm not knocking anybody else out there, but that's just what we do, as far as that's concerned. And that's what I do like about the ALLDATA tool is all your information that you need is just right there and it's accessible and you're able to pull it at a moment's notice, as far as that's concerned, once you do the scan.
We've talked about kind of how you got to the point where you chose the tools you have. Backing up, what prompted you to start your research and come to the realization that you and the shop needed to start using the scan tools?
Well, I'm going to say a name here that a lot of people know and a lot of people trust, and I'll be honest with you. Went to a Mike Anderson seminar, and everybody knows Mike. I love Mike Anderson to death. Mike Anderson should be, I think he's the collision repair shop's mentor, everybody's mentor. Um, I went to one of his, I think it was repair planning classes. I've been to several places where Mike had spoke, but that repair planning class, he really played up looking up OEM procedures, and you have to do that in today's environment that we work in. Two, scanning. You know, I'll tell you, and I know in our industry, OCS calibration, the recalibration of the OCS sensors on vehicles, a lot of people in our industry were not doing that. And he made the point in that class of saying, if you're not doing it, you're not providing a complete and safe repair. You know, and that kind of hit home with me. And that was several years ago. And I said, there's been some Hondas that have come through my shop over the years. There's been some Toyotas that have come through my shop over the years. That did we do that? Probably not. So that really hit home with me, and I wanted to make sure that when a customer came to our shop, that they knew we knew what we were talking about, we knew what we were doing, and that we didn't just look at that vehicle and say electronically looks great. Um, and I tell customers that, um, that's what prompted me. That's what prompted me was I have to give credit to Mike on that one because he got me to thinking, and he got me to really realizing that even though you may fix them and fix them correctly, if you're not doing the procedures that's in the manuals, the collision repair manuals, or the specifications, as I tell other folks that the manufacturer state that needs to be done, then there's a problem. And he showed. I remember. I think it was him that showed the video of. It was a Honda video that shows the watermelon being dropped from a ladder to like 20 foot away. And if anybody has never seen that video, it leaves you speechless, and it leaves you sitting there going, okay, if an airbag is out of time, like a tenth of a second, you got a problem. There's an issue, and the liability's great there. So that really got me to making sure that we at least did something to address those concerns that I had, as far as a shop and for my customers. Because when I tell customers, that I am going to fix your car and do a complete and safe and quality repair, I want to be able to mean that. And that was long story short. There it is.
Well, what about the techs in the shop? Did you go back and relay that same story, kind of get them on board? Did they have similar realizations? Say, yeah, you're right.
That's a great question because of the fact that my shop has been in business since 1960. I've got some young techs, don't get me wrong, but I've got some old techs. One being my father. My father is still in the shop. Now, I pick with folks all the time. He's been doing this for over 50 years. He is got his foot out the door. He's stepping over the door, out the door, and he's dropped it, but he hadn't dropped it completely. He still has, a role in the shop that he plays. Well, when we first started talking about scanning and first started really pushing, or I did, started pushing that upon our techs and our shop and our customers, uh, our insurance partners and everything, my dad was one of the first ones that said, "I don't see the need for this. What are you talking about? I just just a bunch of junk. Oh man, you know." But I started showing him some things. I showed him some videos that iCar had produced. I showed him some things that I had learned through AMI. Um, got to talking to him about some of the things Mike had mentioned in that class, and he was like, "Huh?" He said, "Well, that makes sense." Well, once we got to drilling that into instilling that rather into our technicians, they all kind of got behind that. And I still have a couple every now and then that says, "Hey, there's no lights on the dash." Well, I know you guys have written several articles about the dash light myth. Well, there may be a light on, but there may not be a light on because if we put lights to come on everything that could go wrong with the vehicle, our vehicles would look worse than a cockpit in an airplane. Seriously, it would be nothing but lights, that would crop up. And, I think I did try to get the techs involved, and it was one of those deals there that I think we've done a pretty good job of it. Now, some of the old school techs, and I've worked out in the shop environment, and I've worked with shops around my area. Some of the techs, they're just going to say, "Yeah, it's just another thing we need to do." You know, um, but I'm here to tell you, it's something that we do need to do. It's a necessity, and with I do believe we're getting there. I think that we still have a long way to go, though. I really do. I say that every time I do one of the mechanical classes for iCar because we have anywhere from 3 to 5 folks that show up for that class through the virtual environment. And I tell them they're my ambassadors to go out and recruit more people to come in, because it is a great group of classes because there's a misunderstanding out there about scanning, about the telemetrics of systems. It's just a long. I could go on and on, as you can see, about. I'm very passionate about this subject.
Well, but it's an important one. There's more coming, and more people need to learn and get involved. So the learning part, it's not like you said, here's a scan tool, go use it to everyone. What types of training did you have to put into place to start using them in the shop?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It was kind of trial and error. It was just me going out there and working with it. To be honest with you, and reading and studying and I'll take the ALLDATA tool for an example. Working with ALLDATA, I actually many times I've got my cell phone with me all the time. I would go out, get into a car, and I would actually call ALLDATA and say, "Hey, I'm working on this car. Help me out here. I'm not sure what I need to do." You know, and you know that's where if I had any advice for any shop, any manager, any owner, any tech, is to make sure rely on the folks that are out there, that are doing it. The tool providers, that they've helped me more than you can imagine. So it's just trial and error, working with it because every car will be similar, every vehicle will be similar, but they're all going to have their different quirks. And that's what I think most people in this industry love about our industry because you're never going to do the same thing twice, more than likely. It's all going to be a little different.
You've learned stuff just from being an iCar instructor that I'm sure you've been able to implement. Have you done any additional training now that you're getting into it? You're more involved, you're learning more from ALLDATA. Anything additional that you've implemented?
I'll tell you, being asked to be one of the pilot instructors for the mechanical classes, I was like, when they asked me to do it, I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." And I was like, "How am I qualified for that?" I was like, "What? What?" We have another instructor for iCar that I work with very well, Ken Kemper up in Wisconsin. He is an ASE certified technician. He has taught for, oh gosh, I'm gonna say this wrong. I'm sure but he's taught for like 25, 30 years, and the guy is amazing with the mechanical aspects of uh, of vehicles in general. And I give Ken a lot of credit for helping me learn a lot of stuff. When I first started the classes, the first couple of classes, I was like, "Hey Ken, why don't you do the class and I'm going to sit back and take notes." And I did, and he was gracious enough to do that. But it was one of those things there. By doing that, that helped me learn a lot, and just taking it and just taking it upon myself to research on the internet, to ask questions of the manufacturers. Um, are everybody going to do that? No, they're not. Do I recommend that? Yeah, research. Do your homework on these things. You need to. If you're going to do a complete, safe, and quality repair, that's what you got to do. And I feel like that is something there that in our industry, I feel like we've got a great core group of people that will do that, but I think we've got a lot of catching up to do as well. As far as with that. But I give I you know iCar I give iCar the credit for helping me gain the knowledge that I have today because they have come out with some, great classes, that are out there, to be able to share the knowledge and, just by coming out with some of those classes made me dig deeper into it to find out more, so that's just kind of what I did.
That's great advice for anyone. Start reading, start learning. Now that you've had the scan tools in place for a while, what types of results are you seeing in the repairs that you're making in the shop?
Will tell you that a lot of people don't realize we introduce a lot of, a lot of codes into the system as we're repairing the vehicle. Um, there are many, many examples. I could go on and on all day with the examples that I could give you, but we have to be conscious of that. We have to be aware of that, and we have to make sure that whatever scan tool, but I know with the ALLDATA tool, I'm able to go in and like I do pre-scan and I do a post-scan, but I also do mid-scans as well. If I know there's something that we need to check, I'll take this, and it's real easy to just take one of those tools, take the ALLDATA tool down there, plug it in, scan it real quick, and see, and you're able to basically have a clean slate, so to speak, because as a repairer, the ultimate goal of a repairer is to make sure that you don't leave any trace that you were there. With the repair, you don't want people to know it's been repaired. So the same goes for the electronic systems, the safety systems that are part of the vehicle. So that's what I've seen, and that's one of the benefits there that I can go to sleep at night knowing that we did everything that we could to provide that customer with a complete, safe, and quality repair, and make sure that if they're in a subsequent collision, which I hope and pray every day that they're not, that it's going to work the way it's supposed to work or better. I tell customers my goal is to get it better than it was.
So on that point, and making sure that they don't know that you were in there repairing the vehicle, were there any problems that you had to overcome in the shop with repairing vehicles that are no longer there because you're able to do pre or post or even mid scanning?
I don't think so. It's one of those things there that I feel like that, you know, working with the vehicles and just knowing the different vehicle manufacturers out there. We don't work on a lot of the high end vehicles, but we work on a lot of GMs, we work on a lot of Fords, we work on a lot of the Fiat, Chrysler, Dodge vehicles. We work on a lot of Nissans and Toyotas, and we work on a lot. But it's one of those things there that we pretty much scan everything that comes through the shop, and that's something there that I tell customers, because every vehicle's a little bit different and every vehicle may have to cycle, through certain things. If there's a light, come back and let me check it, and I want to make sure because, if it's something that was introduced due to the collision, you know, we need to take care of it, and, we need to take care of it and we need to take care of it with that insurance company or person that was responsible for the bill, there. And that's what I tell everybody I work with. If it's something that is rec related, by gosh, we're going to stand behind it. So my customers definitely believe in that. I had a funny story the other day. I had a gentleman that came back and he had a brand new Honda and a light came on and it was time for his oil change. But it was one of those things there that I just try to take time with my customers to be able to say, this is what we did, and this is why we did it, and this is the reason for it, because our ultimate goal at the end of the day is to provide you with a complete, safe, quality repair.
And kind of looking at this next question two different ways, are these services that you're now able to provide where if a light comes on, bring it back, I'll check it? Is this something that, one, you're able to differentiate yourself from your competitors, and two, kind of protect your business a little bit more because you can follow it up a little bit more?
I'll answer that in a way that can be kind of, do I want to differentiate myself from my competitors because of that? Well, yes and no, because this is a question there. That first question is, I hope my competitors are doing that. I really do. I hope that they will scan a vehicle, and I hope that they understand the reason why. Now, that's my iCar hat coming out. That's my iCar hat of saying, if they're not knowledgeable, and that's a bad way to put it, but if they don't have the information to understand that this is a necessary item that needs to be done, then I hate that. You know, does it differentiate myself from my competitor because of that? Probably in a customer's eyes. Now, granted, most customers don't realize that, oh, my car needs to be scanned. What are you talking about? And I equate that to hooking up a monitor on yourself, and saying, okay, we need to do x-rays of a broken bone, or we need to do this, we need to check your blood pressure or something of that nature. And that's where we are car surgeons, basically. That's what we do. We're vehicle surgeons, and we have the tools and the capabilities. Now, to answer the question, does it differentiate myself? I hope so, but do I really want to have that differentiate myself? Yes and no. I hope my competitors do that. Now, the other question, basically, tell me the other question again, so I'll make sure I get that right.
No problem. Is this something that has helped you protect your business a little bit more?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Liability wise, I'll be honest with you. The shop's liability is something with, and yeah, I'll bring it up. The case in Texas, we used to say, and I think everybody in our industry would say, hey, our warranties, as long as you own the car. Well, that's not so anymore. The liability that we have on vehicles now, as long as that car's on the road, we're liable if it's something wreck related. You know, I don't care if you're in New York. I don't care if you're in California. I don't care if you're in Washington or here in Mississippi. If my shop fixes that vehicle and it goes for 20 years on the road and there's something wreck related happened 20 years from now, I'm liable for that. Plain and simple. That case was a prime example of that. So it's one of those things there that any shop that doesn't feel that way, they need to do a little more digging, as far as that's concerned. But yeah, I do feel like it does provide that level of protection, on us, on the insurance company as well, and I'll say that, and on the customer, for that matter. But yeah, there is definitely a level of protection there.
So, what are some of the best practices that you have discovered after you've searched for the tools and implemented them that other shops, if they're considering, hopefully they're considering going down this path, that they should look into too?
Some of the best practices basically is you just got to start somewhere. You've got to start. And here's the deal. And I know I may have some people correct me here. If it's a scratch on a bumper, do you need to scan it? Possibly, possibly not. You got to make decisions on that. Do you really want to go out there and do that? A lot of people may say, are you going to get paid for this? Well, maybe, maybe not. Do I get paid for every scan? No, I don't. But going back to that level of protection, is it worth it? Most definitely. It's definitely worth it. But you have to start somewhere. And if you don't start somewhere, like setting aside, okay, if it's a Toyota, the OCS recalibration, you need to make sure that those Toyotas, I don't care that if it's a small hit or not, basically it needs to be done. If you do glass work, that's another contention that's out there in our industry with all the different advanced driver assist systems that are in these vehicles. You've got to know the procedures, and you've got to start somewhere. You've got to pull OEM procedures. If you're not reading the procedures, you're not providing a complete and safe repair. And then from there, you just kind of make your own standard operating procedure, because what works for Porter's Body Shop and Patrick Porter may not work for the body shop down the street, you know. But you have to start somewhere, and in reality, it goes from pulling those OEM procedures and making sure that you scan them. You just got to do that, you know. And I will tell you, by working with a scan tool like the ALLDATA scan tool, you're able to have procedures at your fingertips with that, you know, and that is a great opportunity to really get good information. Because I will tell you, one of the benefits of being able to do that as well is when you find a problem that wasn't rec related, but the customer didn't know about, and you're a hero to the customer, you know, once it's all said and done. So to answer your question, you just got to start somewhere, basically.
So then in terms of training too, between iCar, just calling the manufacturer, calling ALLDATA, using the resources there, it goes beyond buying tools. Any tips for shops to best prepare the users?
It, I'm a hands-on person, you know, and you just gotta. I learned by doing, and I think in this industry, I think that is you know, I think all of us do that. I think most of us are very hands-on. If you haven't noticed, I talk with my hands as well. You know, on a virtual class, it's kind of funny. I you know, I will put my hands in front of my face sometimes and don't even realize it. You know, because I'm talking constantly with my hands. But we're a very hands-on group of people, men and women in this industry. We have to do it, and that's what my advice to anybody. If you designate a tech, I haven't designated anybody. I do it at my shop. Now, granted, I'm doing 65, 70 other hats, things out there. I work with customers, but I just enjoy doing it. I love the challenge, and I think most techs will love that as well. But you just got to do it, you know, to be able to learn it. And there are a lot of opportunities out there for learning. You know, the one thing that I know iCar has to offer is the RTS website. You know, Ask iCar. I utilize that quite a bit. You know, if I can't find the answers through ALLDATA, even through the OE, you know, a website. If I can't find it through the OE website, I'm asking iCar, or I'm using ALLDATA's Ask ALLDATA, you know, that section as well, because that's what they're there for. You know, and I tell folks, if you spend over 30 minutes looking for something and you can't find it, you need to kind of delegate that to something else, you know, there. So it's a good thing.
Then last question to kind of wrap things up and pushing things to the front of the shop. You said earlier, do you get paid for every scan you do? No. So what do you implement within your business practices to make sure that you are properly charging for these services and working with your insurers, working with insurance companies to make sure that you're getting what the shop deserves?
Well, you know, it's all about making good notes. It's all about providing the the repair procedures. If I tell folks every day, you know, that ask me about an estimate, you know, about writing a proper repair plan. You know, you have to make sure when you're writing your repair plan that you tell a story. You know, I have a lot of shops out there. I know a lot of shops that do 100% disassembly. They do blueprinting, and when they send that estimate up, they have line notes and photos. And in that estimate, in the line notes, in the photos, that's where an estimator is supposed to tell the story of the repair plan, of the overall repair plan. You know, and I tell estimators, you know, that I work with, that your techs need to have their repair plan for what they're going to do to the vehicle, but it's your job to make sure you have an overall repair plan. And by doing that, providing the information, you know, yeah, at the end of the day, you're going to have some insurance company say, I don't think we owe for that. I know that. But then you say, well, let's look at the procedures together. Let's look at them, and then you make that determination. Are you still going to have some that say, I don't think we owe for that? Yeah, you probably will. On the flip side of that, as a shop, though, you have to be realistic on, like I said, if you've got a little scratch on a bumper that have no sensors in it and no nothing, do you really want to scan that vehicle? Yeah, it's iffy. Some manufacturers may disagree with that statement, but there needs to be a reason why, that you're providing the scan. Now, if it has airbags out of it, yeah, you definitely need to scan it. If it has sensors or any advanced driver assist systems or anything related to safety, yeah, you need to scan it. If it's in the repair procedures, most insurance companies should pay the bill. Do they always? No, but you have to be fair on that as well. You can't ask, when, the price is set at a certain level in an area, you can't ask triple that price, and I'm not going to talk about prices by no means here, but you just have to be realistic about it and keep the customer involved in it as well and help the customer understand, because at the end of the day, the customer is the person responsible for the bill with the shop. So that's something there that my customers know, that I'm looking for them to help if there's a problem getting a bill paid. Have I done a lot of scans that I haven't gotten paid for? Sure. Yeah, most definitely. But that level of protection, like we talked about earlier, is the reason for that. And I think a lot of shops out there understand that. Do I want to get paid for all of them? Sure. Yeah. That we're in business to make money. And unfortunately, that gets in the way of sometimes of making a good decision every now and then. But it's one of those things there that, to answer your question, we just got to all communicate and make sure that we're at the end of the day together as a group, and that's the shop, the insurance, the customer, and everybody's on board for providing a complete, safe, and quality repair.
Absolutely. Well, Patrick, I think this has been a great, informative conversation today. Scanning and diagnostics is a conversation that shops across the country need to have and then continue to have once they have some in place. With vehicles continuing to change, these are the processes that shops need to have in place and continue to prepare themselves to change.
Well, and I'll add something to that as well. We do need to continue to have the conversations, but we need to move away from just scanning. We need to move on to telemetrics, to advanced driver assist systems, and what we need to do there. We've been talking about, this vehicle needs to be scanned, for the past 5, 6 years. We know that now, and we need to make sure that we are looking at all the opportunities out there for learning. Like I said, the mechanical classes that we do on the virtual side for iCar. I hate this, but there's just very few people that sign up for it. And hopefully, we'll see our numbers rise there because they're very informative and very useful to making sure we're getting the right information out there. I think all too often us as an industry feel like there's a distinct difference between mechanical and collision. And I'll be honest with you, used to there was. Now in the collision repair shop, there's not. We are mechanical collision repairers. We are, and that we need to get used to those terms, and we need to understand the terminology behind it. So, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing your time, your knowledge, and your insights with us today. Also, thank you to ALLDATA for sponsoring and partnering on this discussion. If you'd like more information on the topics that we talked about, examples, or anything else like that, please visit www.alldata.com for more information. So thank you for joining us for the video, and we hope you have a great rest of the day in your shop.